Good day, Rian. Good day, Deon, Ox. Deon, if I can start with you, can you give us an update on the injury players? Who of them will be available for selection tomorrow? I'm thinking particular of guys like Dwayne and Faf and those guys, and some of the other players that were carrying needles. If you can just give us a clarity on some of the injuries, please.
At this stage, all the players, despite Chestnut Colby, got a hit on the leg, is available. Dwayne and all the other injured players, Reinhard Alstead, all of them are back on the field of training. So they're in good spirit. We had a very hard week last week, and everyone was on the field today. Colby, just on Friday, we got a hit on the leg. He was sent away by the medical staff for treatment and assessment, and there's nothing serious, and hopefully we will be ready to play as soon as possible.
Sorry, as a follow-up, just for clarity, so is Colby doubtful for this week?
They're still busy with his assessment, and I think we will make a decision as to later today, tomorrow, in terms of his availability, depending on the outcome from the medical assessment.
Thank you, Jan. Is that good? Thank you. Ken Borland, over to you.
Thanks, Rian. Morning, Deon. Morning, Ox. Deon, just if I can quickly ask Trevor Nyakani just an update on his fitness, and then whenever the Springboks go to Australia, there's kind of an expectation that we're going to smash them up front. It doesn't always seem to come off, and in fact, our record there is really not very good. Why do you think there's too much expectation put on the Springboks that they're going to really dominate up front, or is the Wallabies pack just really clever at working around that?
No, I think historically you're right in saying that we don't have a good record in Australia, but I think for us as a team, we're quite focused just to carry on in terms of where we left off. We think that we have a lot of areas of our game that we still want to improve. Also, Australia, in my opinion, is a quality rugby side. They are very well coached. They are very competitive. I won't look too much in their results in the last couple of games. I think they've played 5 out of 7 games against the All Blacks. The last 2 before the last weekend, they've played, I think, 2 at Eden Park against the All Blacks, which have also a very good record at Eden Park. I think they've lost there since 1994. And the positive from that is, I mean, if a young team or a team as Australia that are busy rebuilding, if they are playing so much rugby against a quality side like the All Blacks, they can only get better. The young players learn a lot of lessons. The team grow in terms of their performance and building experience. And I think if you look back at the last game that they have played, they've created a lot of opportunities. Maybe they will look at themselves and say that, listen, we've maybe let us down in our decision making or in terms of our execution. So I think they're a very competitive team, and I think it's going to be a very, very competitive game. And we will make a mistake if we look into their past results. So we expect nothing else than a very hard and competitive game. So we need to be prepared for this. And then in terms of Trevor Nyakane, as I said, like all the other players, are all fit and ready to go. So they all trained very well last week and also into competition.
Thank you, Ken. Does that answer your questions? Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Nathan Gogela, good afternoon or good morning your side.
Good evening, Ray, Coach Deon and Nche. I've got 2 questions. I'll start with Coach Deon. We know you guys taking it game by game. I remember asking the initial reaction to the Bledisloe 1 game, but you didn't give away too much as you guys were playing Argentina at the time and taking it game by game. As I said, question again this week. You face Australia. What do you make of their set piece, especially at line-out time? Any threats that you've identified?
It's a different game. Different teams have different approaches and different philosophies. Argentina was very, very competitive in a lot of areas of the game, and we really had to be smart in order to keep them at bay and in order to play the way we want to play. Australia, in terms of the set pieces, I think they're from a lineup.
1 second, Deon, please, please just hold. Sorry for that. Please pause. Ladies and gents, if everyone can just please deactivate their microphones. Yeah. It is. Thank you.
Yeah, just from a lineup perspective, I think that Australia is a very, very competitive side. They've turned over a couple of balls against New Zealand, put them really under pressure in the past games that they've played. I think they've got a very good lineup. So yeah, obviously it's an area of the game that we really want to improve, and we think we've let out down a bit in the last game, but we've worked hard on it. So yeah, we've got to be on song. I think going forward in this game, it's going to be the set piece. It's going to be a well contested area, and it's an area that we want to be sure that we execute well to give our team top quality ball and a solid base to play from. So yeah, we expect a very good challenge from them then.
Thank you. And then Nche, first quarantine outside of SA borders. Can you just talk us through how strict COVID protocols are here in Brisbane?
I think they're pretty similar to South African protocols, really. We have a regular testing regime. We always have a mask on most of the time. And like we're only allowed to go to the field to practice, and otherwise in our hotel and in our rooms. So it's pretty similar to when we were back in SA. So yeah, we've adjusted pretty well, and I think everyone is doing well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much there, Nathan. Ken, your hand is still up. Is that an indication for a second round of questions?
Sorry, Round. No, sorry.
Okay. Ashfaq Mohammed.
Thanks, Ryan. To Deon, it's always sometimes you need a bit of rest and to get acclimatized and all of that. But are you worried at all about match sharpness, having traveled over to Australia in quarantine and not playing this past weekend, whereas the Wallabies played against the All Blacks?
No, not at all, Ashok. I think we had a very hectic schedule before this, coming from the Lions series, playing very competitive games against Argentina back to back. So I think the week off has been good to us. We had time, obviously, to recover and also to give some attention to our game in areas in terms of where we can improve. So we've spent a little bit of time on that. And now in this week going in, our focus is all on the challenge that Australia is going to give us. And yeah, this is how we prepare now. So no, I think it was good for the team, and we are looking forward to this game.
Right. Sorry about that. Thank you, Ashfaq and Deon. And next question will come from Mots, Supersport.
To you, Coach, I wanted to ask you if you think there'll be any psychological effect, any kind of effect on the team in playing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I can't hear anything.
Mots, it's very faint. We can barely make out what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, guys. Very good evening to you all. Coach, to you, I wanted to ask if you feel that there'll be any effect on the players in playing in front of a capacity crowd. How's the team preparing for that, if at all? And then to Tero, may I ask this one in Sesotho?
Yeah, you might.
Le ntse le dutse quarantine sebaka se se telele hona jwale ne. Jwale I want to ask from you hore ke eng ntho ya ho qala o ka lakatsang ho e etsa ha se le tswile quarantineng?
Okay, I think our players are really excited and to play in front of a capacity crowd again. I mean, it's been some time. Obviously, it's something that we will have to adapt to again. Obviously, in terms of communication, what we get used to on field, we will have to adapt in terms of that, and that is things that we spoke about and things that we try to work around. But yeah, it would be fantastic to play against or in front of a big crowd, and hopefully that will spur the guys on to even perform better.
Okay, and also, traffic like it was like it's like it was watching a particularly good movie. So yeah, between those two.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Ukutehle.
Thank you, Mots. Thank you, Ox, short and sweet. Right, we say good evening to Jim Tucker.
Thanks, Rayan. Hello, Deon, Ox. Jim Tucker on with rugby.com.au website. Ox, if I could ask you a question, and this is just based on the fact we haven't seen South Africa for a long time. You played with South Africa before the World Cup and now a couple of tests after the World Cup experience. Can you tell us what difference in mentality and confidence there is just in South African rugby and Springbok rugby generally, based on your experience before and what they've been able to achieve with that World Cup victory?
Well, back in 2018 when I was there, I'd probably say like it was the beginning of like how everything like started actually after like journey with Coach Rice and Coach Jock. And I have to say that difference then is that it was guys were still adapting and guys were still trying to get aligned to see one vision and try to achieve one thing for the Springboks. And now everyone is just aligned and has a same mindset to always want to like sacrifice for the green and gold jersey, and like everyone, there's no one that's complacent. So whether they've played 100 caps or 50 caps, everyone just wants to do whatever is best for the team and sacrifice what they have to. So, yeah.
Okay. Ox, to follow on there, often in sport, individual sports or team sports, teams get on a roll, just get in the zone, so to speak. The Boks have run together some really good results. Is there a feeling that while things are good, you want to maximise all the results you can possibly get with this team?
Yeah, I think the team at this stage is setting very high standards for themselves. I think it's also important for us to not get ahead of ourselves, but to ensure that we continue setting stretch goals for ourselves and try to improve as a team in terms of individual standards and also in terms of team structures and team standards. And as long as we do that and we're not complacent in how we approach stuff, and there's still a desire and a commitment to be the best and to stay the best, I think we can reach even higher heights. And I think that is the alignment or the commitment that is needed from everyone in the team. Obviously, we understand that in professional sport, teams catch up to you and the game develop, teams get better. So it's also important for us as a team to grow, to keep growing and to try to improve ourselves. And I think that is where we are, and that is what we try to achieve, just to get better in what we do and how we do stuff.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Deon.
Thank you. Right, we move on swiftly and we say hello to Heinz Schenk.
Good evening, gents. Just a question for Deon, please. I mean, there's obviously been there's two themes, to your season. There's been a lot of continuity, and you guys really, like you just said, want to maximize your results. You want to build on the World Cup foundation that you guys have laid. You've done it also with the British and Irish Lions. But as a forwards coach, Deon, just how privileged do you feel that you've also very much on your way to completing the second goal, and that's to build depth. Like you have a guy like Ox next to you now. It's not just now Beeson Tarawira and Stephen Kitsoff that started out. And I'm just using examples now as well, like this week. A couple of years ago, it would have been unfathomable to think that Dwayne Vermeulen might not, play at number 8, And now you guys have a situation where you really have to wonder, is it going to be Jasper or Kwacha, or is it going to be Dwayne? That must be a really privileged position.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is part of the broader strategy, is to build depth, to keep winning and to transform the team. And I think as a group also together now, being together for so long, coming from the British and Irish Lions series, now again for a long time together, building into this rugby championship competition, it gives time for us as coaches to get to know the players better, also the players amongst each other to get to know each other better on and off the field. And I think the young players also get a huge opportunity to learn a lot from the more senior players in the team, and you can see it day to day in the training session now. Individual players keep growing in terms of their performances on the field and the lessons that they learn on field in team meetings. And the players that we've been exposed to test rugby is part of the process of building experience in certain positions, and we are lucky if you look overall in terms of the depth that we have in the squad, that we're in a good position. And although I feel there is certain areas that we still need to grow more experience, but I think as we continue this journey, by having the players together in camp and giving them opportunities in the next year or two, working towards the next World Cup, I think we will have enough confidence in those positions.
Please look on site to please stay off the terrace area during delivery service. I repeat, launch off the terrace service. Thank you.
Sorry about that, Deon, but as Jagninaba was saying, with a similar interruption, that's life in quarantine. Apologies for that. If you can pick up your chain of thought again. Thank you. Okay, you're done. Right. So we will move on to Liam. Hello, Liam.
Hi, guys. Good evening. My question is for Deon. Deon, the Wallabies seem to play with a lot of enterprise against the All Blacks, and they played with a lot of commitment in attack, and they played with width. Do you expect them to abandon that this weekend, or do you think that style, if you like, is pretty much set? Is that in their DNA now?
My past experience of coaching against Dave Rennie and in terms of his approach for Glasgow Warriors and also the Chiefs and looking at the Wallabies, I think that is part of his approach to have this attack philosophy and like to his teams to play with ball in hand and build pressure with the ball. I think that is something that if I look at their games, I think their attack really improved. But I also think that they would look back and in terms of the execution and in terms of their decision making, maybe it wasn't in certain areas or in moments of the game as good as they would have wanted to. So I think definitely they will look at it and will try to correct it, and also maybe technically just adapt in terms of how they want to execute in certain situations. But I'm from the point of view that they will have the same approach. They will just have to make it, or they will just have to do it better in certain areas.
Thanks. Thank you, Liam. And Percy, you've been waiting patiently. Good evening.
Good evening, Rian. Good evening, coaches. Good evening, Ox. Deon, I'll probably just ask a question of Afrikaans just to repeat myself again. And I need to be fair to you. Deon, can I ask you? I heard your answer in English about Chisel and Kobe. Can I ask you in Afrikaans? Het hy geoefen saam met julle die afgelope 2 dae? En ek moet reg teen jou wees want afgelope Zaak Ninaber het in die verlede heelwat gesê dat hulle volgens die 2019 reël as 'n speler nie in die eerste dag van die week voor 'n toets kan oefen nie, dan word hy nie verkiesbaar vir die toets nie. So ek wil net weet, het hy geoefen saam met julle? En die tweede deel net, waar het julle wyser geword uit die toets tussen die All Blacks en die Wallabies afgelope naweek? Dankie.
Ja, possible. Ek dink ons moet môre maar wag tot môre vir daai besluit. Ek kan net vir jou sê dat Cheslin net deelgeneem in die oefening tot en met Vrydag. Hy het Vrydag laat in die oefening seer gekry en hy is toe weg vir assessering. Hy het nie vandag aan die oefening deelgeneem nie. Maar ons wag vir die mediese verslag om aan die einde van die dag 'n besluit te maak daaroor. Ons sport vertroue dat die regte besluit in daardie opsig geneem sal word. Ek dink die lesse uit die afgelope wedstryde tussen die All Blacks en Australië. Jy kan sien dat die wedstryd teen baie hoë tempo gespeel word. Miskien iets anders waarna ons gewoond was as wat ons toe ons teen die Britse en Ierse leeu's gespeel het. Jy kon ook sien dat wanneer jy foute maak teen enige een van hierdie twee spanne, dat hulle geweldig goed is om van omgekeerde besit af te speel en dit om te skakel in punte. Jy moet ook bereid wees om natuurlik vir 'n klomp fases te verdedig. En jy moet goeie besluite maak en jou vaste versette moet baie goed wees. So miskien iets anders as wat ons teëgekom het in die afgelope paar wedstryde, maar dit is aspekte wat ons geïdentifiseer het en dinge waarna ons kyk om op te verbeter in die komende wedstryde.
Thank you, Deon. Just for the benefit of our international audience, if I may ask you just to be patient and just repeat very, very briefly in terms of what you've seen in the clashes between the Wallabies and Australia and what challenge those teams will pose for the Springboks.
Yeah, looking at the two teams, I think that the game is played at a very high intensity. You can also see that if you have to be able to defend multiple phases against teams that like to keep the ball in hand. Obviously, also if by saying that you need to be patient and need to be willing to defend multiple phases. Also in terms of the execution, if you get an opportunity, it's very important that you use that opportunity. If you concede possession, you will be punished, as we can also see in the last couple of games, and where tries have been scored from almost 80, 90 meters. So it's going to be important that you look after the ball, that you're technically astute in terms of where you play and what you want to achieve. And then obviously in terms of defense, that you're accurate in terms of stopping momentum when you get turnovers, to use that and turn that over into points.
Thank you, Deon. Nathan and Ashfaq, I see both your hands are up. Are those for a fresh round of questions?
Yes, they are.
And for me too, Ray.
Right. Nathan, we'll go with you and then we'll conclude with Ashfaq. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Tsecho, please, if you can, reply in English and in Sesotho. Personally, how excited are you that you could be getting another opportunity to represent the Boks after a minor injury against the Lions, especially in front of a crowd this time?
Well, I'm pretty excited. I mean, yeah, I have to choose all the chances I get, and it's always an honor to put on the green and gold jersey. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it's probably like I've even thought about it, like the fact that there's going to be fans out there. It's going to be unreal. I mean, I can't even remember how it feels like to play in a full stadium full of fans. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that, and yeah, I'm a bit nervous, but I'm excited.
And then
And
Lesotho as well. Yeah.
say that in City as well.
Yes, please.
Ke thabile haholo hore mane hobane re feleditse kgale ho bapala ho bapala batho ba shebelletse stadium hobane ba ntse ba shebella TV mare weekend ena ho tla ho thwe stadium se tla se tletse tikete kaofela di rekisitswe, so ke utlwa ke thabile and yeah re tla bona etsa.
Ke a leboga, ke a leboga.
Over to you, Ashfaq.
Okay, thanks, Ray. To Rechechovaditswe. Going into this game, the Wallabies have battled a bit against the All Blacks, and you guys have beaten the Lions and beaten Argentina twice. So, most people would make you guys favorites, despite, the Box not having actually the best record against the Wallabies in Australia. How do you deal with that? Is it difficult to deal with such an aspect, or does nothing change for you as players?
As a player, like honestly, we just go on about our weekly routine, like what we did in the week of the first test against the British Irish Lions in Georgia, in Argentina. We've been following the same program and same mindset. You do your preparations, you practice as hard as you can, and it's the same mindset really, not to look far ahead and focus on what's the main thing, which is going to be Australia now, and then yeah, just don't change anything really. Just focus on what you need to do this weekend and be prepared for the challenge that's about to come really. So yeah.
Thank you, gents. Thank you to our audience, both in South Africa and in Australia. Thank you, Deon. Thank you, Ox. And ladies and gents, like I said at the beginning, there is a time change, a very slight time change in our media team announcement tomorrow. It will be 30 minutes later as advertised, but we will indicate that in the joining link that we will be sending out. Thank you very much. Have a good day or a good evening and stay safe. Bye-bye.